Viewer discretion is advised.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location deep in the heart of the Ozark Mountains using only a 9-volt battery and some aluminum foil. It's the Boredroom.
Welcome to the Boredroom. I'm your host, Joe Batterton.
And I'm Nathan Rogers at WooPig Sumo on Twitter.
Well, this is episode number 4.
Number 4.
Just cruising right along.
Yeah. You want to know what we're talking about today?
Give me a clue.
Okay.
I think I already got this. We're talking about old Saturday Night Live alumni.
Yes. At least 2 of them.
We're going to be talking about spooks and haints and ghosts and all other forms of things that go bump in the night. We're going to talk about the paranormal.
Yeah, we're going to have a special guest today. So, Jason Mansfield, he's a videographer. He does some documentaries, some film work on some paranormal type stuff, so it'll be interesting.
Is he what we'd call an expert?
He is to me. He's more of an expert than I ever will be. I don't like messing with this stuff.
More of an expert than you want to be,
yeah.
huh?
All right, let's get him in here and get the show started.
Okay, let's see if we can get him on the phone, Nathan.
All right, Jason, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, man, welcome to our show. What kind of projects you got going on right now? I know you've been filming some pretty cool stuff.
Oh, you name it, I am into it, man. I've got my own personal project that I'm trying to get aired on PBS that is dedicated to all the legends and folklore pertaining to Arkansas.
Well, that's cool.
And I hope to have that finished in probably within the next month, and then we'll have to wait and see if the finished cut meets the guidelines for PBS, because they have certain restrictions that have to fit within, and it's really hard to tell a story in 56 minutes.
Right.
Well, first of all, we probably need to introduce our guest properly. We're calling you by first name, but we're talking to Jason Mansfield.
We know you're doing some documentary type work out there. You also run a couple of websites. Could you tell us about those?
Oh, yeah. The website that probably caught your attention was hauntedarkansas.net. I actually run a research team here in Arkansas called Paranormal Studies of Arkansas, and we travel around and research all the cool, eerie, spooky stories that everybody hears about.
So you're looking at things beside just ghosts, right? You're just talking. You guys, you kind of explore anything that's unexplained, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Basically, I grew up watching all these TV shows as a kid that would either talk about ghosts or UFOs or Bigfoot, and I was hooked on it as a kid. And when I graduated high school in 1990, I actually started traveling with the military and got to see some of these locations and been hooked ever since. And I've 27 states to date.
Wow.
Over 200 locations just related to hauntings. That's not counting UFOs, which I don't do a whole lot of UFOs. Out of all the topics, people really don't like to talk about that for some reason. But they'll talk about Bigfoot. They'll talk about, ghosts and, the Crescent Hotel as an example. But for some reason, UFOs people kind of shy away from, but that's the one I like the most.
I did a little, last week we did a topic on Bigfoot, and I did a little research on that, but I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't done a lot of research on today's topic because it freaks me out.
Well, I've been loosely, I went to a few ghost hunts, whatever you want to call it. I've went 2 or 3 times, and I've always, ever since I was a kid, same as you, I've been interested. I've never never really delved in it too deep. It kind of freaks me out when you start getting things happening that you can't explain.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a chicken, too.
Well, that's one of the things that I've strived to do in my research is get fact from fiction, because there are a lot of overactive imaginations out there.
Oh,
There
sure.
are people that want to believe so much that the smallest little thing is a ghost to them, when I can go and walk over and show them, okay, well, no, this is what's causing it. They don't want to see that. They don't want to hear that. But they've already got their mindset. It's a ghost. That's what it is. You can't convince me otherwise.
So when you go in and you're going in and doing your research, are you really spending a majority of your time trying to debunk what's going on out there? Are you actually out there trying to make contact with spirits and talk to the dead? I mean, what's your process?
It's kind of a blend. I go in with an open mind, but I want to rule out any possible misunderstanding, misconception, overactive imagination. The one thing, especially here in the Ozarks, that I hear, I can pull up, somebody can tell me the most outlandish reports of what happens to them at 9 o'clock every night. And I can show up and be there and nothing happens.
So you think
And
overactive
almost
imagination on some of
9
that?
out of 10 times, I'll be told that there's an Indian burial mound in the background. In the backyard.
Pet cemetery.
What does that have to do with speaking,
What do you think some of the most haunted spots in the Ozarks are?
In the Ozarks, Arkansas in general,
Of course, you mentioned the Crescent Hotel earlier.
the Crescent is pretty much a publicity stunt. I have done extensive research there. I've spent a lot of money there. That's part of the thing, is if you want to research, you got to be a guest. And if you tell them that you're a team and you want to officially investigate the location, you have to rent 5 rooms.
Yeah, but you get the group rate, right?
Totally no. You get the ghost rate, and they charge more for that, which, goes weird.
The trick is to go out of tourist season.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely got to go out of tourist season, but, they're so big on it. The last time I was there, they gave me access to the basement area, the morgue area, and we had people all over there. But then they had a wedding scheduled upstairs, and you can't control your environment. You can't control your sound levels when you've got 400 people upstairs having a wedding.
Right.
So it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But basically, the way this set up is, if I go in and do an investigation and I can prove that it's a faulty light switch, or if I can prove without a shadow of a doubt that it's not paranormal related, they have to approve it before I can say anything publicly, because they tell me in the paperwork that they can sue me.
Well, I mean, it makes sense on a business side of things. You're probably drawing a lot of people in just for the ghost factor.
Yeah.
So if a ghost no longer exists,
marketing,
then you've lost some revenue.
Yeah, it's very smart marketing on their part. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way when you're there trying to do legitimate research.
Right.
And, and then you've got all this red tape you got to step through. And outside of the state, in Colorado, is the Stanley Hotel. It's the exact same thing. It's all marketing.
Is that where The Shining was filmed?
Before last, investigating out there, there's not even a death reported on the property.
Is that where The Shining was filmed?
It's where they say it was filmed. They didn't actually film it in the hotel, but they did film a lot of scenes in the town. But I was kind of disappointed with that when I got to take the tour out there and learn the history of it. And Stephen King did do some writing while he was out there staying with them, but they didn't actually film it. Now, I want to say there was a miniseries or some other TV show, I can't even remember the name of it now, that was filmed actually at the hotel, but I don't think it had anything to do with ghosts.
It's a big old building, that's for sure.
What's that?
I said it's a big building, that's for sure.
Oh, it's huge.
So, what outside of like those hotels and stuff? What's the one place that stands out in your mind as being kind of a good creepy, seems like it's haunted type of place?
Yeah. There's actually two in the state of Arkansas that I cannot explain. I've done extensive research at both of these locations, and when I say extensive research, I'm talking hundreds of hours of video and hundreds of hours of audio recorded and time in the locations. And one, I can't say where it's at. I will say that Arkansas has a tuberculosis hospital. It's not that anymore. It's actually still used by the state of Arkansas. If you Google it, you can find it, but legally I can't name it for some paperwork that I've signed.
Sure.
But it's basically 500, if you can imagine, 525,000 square feet of creepy.
Wow.
We're talking 4 stories plus there's another level the public usually doesn't get to. The building's falling apart. It's got asbestos, in the tiles and in the ceiling. It's not probably the safest place to go to, but you have to know the people that run it to get access. The general public cannot get in.
So what's so creepy about it? Is it disembodied voices? Is it things moving?
It's a little bit of everything. The reports are you will see individuals walking down the hall that just vanish. Lots of EVP. Now, I'm real skeptical when it comes to EVP. I believe you have to control your environment as best as possible. I've been with research teams that have been there with me, and they'll come out with 80 disembodied voices on their recorders, and I might have one, and it could have been somebody sneezing down at the end of the hall.
Well, I've recorded enough stuff to know that you can get white noise on anything if you bring the levels up, and if you want to, you can kind of make something out of nothing if you listen hard enough, and convince yourself. So
yeah, that happens a lot to people, and they don't realize. I always tell people, if you're going to go do an EVP session, whether you're going to sit there and actually ask questions and then play it back later listening for answers, or you're going to set a recorder in a building and leave for 8 hours and then come back, use 2 recorders. That way you can rule out malfunction, you can rule out white noise, you can rule out low battery, because especially digital recorders, you get down to about 20% on your battery, they start doing kind of funky things every once in a while.
So, on the subject of EVP, have you seen Huff Paranormal? The guy on YouTube with the Wonder Box. He's made out of an old amp.
I am not real fond of that gentleman.
Yeah, those are kind of creepy, but I'm not sure if I buy into that or not. Why is he so special that Johnny Cash is seeking him out, Michael Jackson, and...
Well, let me tell you, Nathan.
I was telling Joe earlier, I was like, maybe it's not his box, maybe his house is just haunted, maybe he just needs to move.
Yeah, I don't know about him. The stuff he comes up with...
Yeah.
Is I can easily... I have enough knowledge of technology, and especially in the world of audio, I can duplicate everything he's showing you on the video.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he's faking it. It's I can duplicate it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we talk about, me and Nathan were talking about like Bigfoot researchers and even paranormal researchers. I think what hurts people, credibility wise, is when you take a guy like this who may be sincere about what he's doing, but out of the millions and billions of potential spirits that are probably out there, what makes you think that you're going to get a hold of Michael Jackson or Johnny Cash or a celebrity? And it just makes no sense to me. And it looks like somebody's just
You're more likely for Uncle Delbert to come out
Yeah.
and instead of a celebrity.
Or cousin Tommy that you owed money to, and he's wanting to come back to let you know that it's okay, man. I'm not gonna do anything to you when you come to the other side.
Yeah, I won't say it's all researchers, because there are a lot of researchers looking for answers. They're just gullible. But there are people out there that are looking for their 15 minutes of fame.
Sure.
When Prince passed away, within 24 hours, there were people on the internet getting EVP from Prince.
Yeah.
I have
people would click on their YouTube channel,
Yeah, I have an EVP of Prince. It's on my computer. Every time I push it, it plays Purple Rain, and I know it's his spirit coming back and singing to me.
Play it in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll hear all kinds of things you play in reverse.
We did a episode on Bigfoot last week, and I'm a little skeptical about that stuff.
I'm a lot skeptical.
But this stuff here, I think there's something to it, and it really freaks me out. I've never had any personal experiences. I have been in places at certain times that I didn't see or hear nothing, but it's like I just felt something that was just eerie,
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
This is the skeptical side of me speaking now. Some of that can be what's called EMF, which is electromagnetic frequency, which the Earth naturally emits, and it oscillates, and it's stronger here, weaker there, and then 2 seconds later, it's the complete opposite. It's basically waves of energy that go back and forth. Houses especially are susceptible to it, especially older houses, because of the copper wiring that they use.
Yeah, stuff is not shielded, right?
But that
some of the wiring's not shielded, right? And it's putting off more of an EMF field.
I am what's classified as sensitive. It's kind of actually how I got started in the research. Is I perceive things differently than other people, and a lot of it is based on scientifically. The only way I can explain it is through EMF. I can go to locations and people will tell me, okay, well, when I'm sitting here at my kitchen table, and it's 10 o'clock at night and it's all quiet, it feels like somebody's standing behind me, and they put their hand on my shoulder, and I turn and there's nobody there. And then I will go and look, and I can feel what they're talking about, and I'll walk around the corner, and there's their main breaker box that's coming into their house, and you grab your EMF detectors, and it's just bleeding unsafe levels of radiation coming out of it that will affect the human brain. So the research is, is EMF causing us to notice spirits, or are spirits causing us to notice EMF? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I guess, and that would explain why. I've heard it explained as like if you go into a basement, and I think the guys on Ghost Hunters, they kind of use this explanation. They call it a fear cage, where you've got a lot of wiring coming around from different sides. You've got your breaker box, and there's old wiring that's just not shielded. And you walk in there and you just get this almost like a panic feeling, and it's because it's emitting EMFs, and it's messing with your head.
Yeah, it will do that.
Or is it giving the spirit energy to bring itself to fruition?
Yeah, see, that's the $1 million question, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I still, out of all the years of doing this, I still don't know the answer to that. Am I hallucinating, or am I really seeing? What is causing me to see what I'm seeing? Is it, I personally believe it's a combination of several different environmental factors that only happens every so often. Because I know people that, we can talk about the Crescent. I know people that have an experience every time they walk in the Crescent, and I've gone there and nothing.
Right.
And I've been there 10 times. It's I always tell people it's a matter of perception. And I'm open. I believe, because there's things I have seen and documented that I cannot explain through science, and I've taken completely 100% skeptical people with me to that tuberculosis hospital that I was I had DVR systems all set up, and he was going to sit and watch the monitors while we were off exploring this huge building in the dark. And before the night was done, that man was ready to leave the building.
He probably lasted longer than I would have.
I didn't hear you.
I said he probably lasted longer than I would have.
Well, he stayed all night. We got there set up right at dark, and I think we left at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, he lasted all night, but he was on the only floor that had operational offices, had electricity. Everything else in the building was shut down, for safety reasons. So, I mean, just literally walking in the dark. And when you got a non-believer look you in the eye and tell you that an 8-year-old girl walks down the hall towards you, past you, and then vanishes in plain sight.
Yeah, screw that. I'm out.
It's
Peace out. I'm out of here. Well, okay. So let me get down to the basis of the whole thing. Do you believe in ghosts or not?
I believe the term ghost, my personal belief, is a misconception, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't believe we're dealing with our lost loved ones after they've gone.
What do you think it is then?
I'm going to blow your mind here. I believe...
It's Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot. Bigfoot did it. I believe from a... physics point of view, past, present, and future.
So you think it's residual?
The universe that we cannot possibly understand all happen at the same time. And I think that what people are perceiving are little glitches in time where for a split second you look and you can see somebody that's not wearing the correct period clothes, semi-translucent, you see them for 3 seconds, you blink and they're gone. Is it somebody from, that has passed away? You're actually looking back at a glimpse of somebody, say, from 1920 for just a split second.
That's pretty interesting. I've never heard that theory before.
I have.
The ghost hunters did an investigation. I'm trying to remember where it was at, but they did an EVP session, and they were asking whatever spirit was they were trying to communicate with a question, and the answers they were getting was almost in real time, where she was answering the questions, but she didn't know where the voices were coming from. She was actually getting kind of disturbed that she's hearing voices out of the blue, and that's what kind of turned me on to that theory. And then I started doing a lot more research into it, and the more I've dug into this stuff, it makes more sense. Technically, we can haunt ourselves if you lived in a place long enough.
Right. Well, I mean, do you believe, you hear a lot of people talking about residual haunt? So it's like a recording that plays itself over and over again. Not necessarily a spirit per se, but like an energy that just remanifests itself. I mean,
yeah, and it's only when certain atmospheric and cosmic, conditions are in play. EMF could be, at 200 plus, and I used to monitor everything from, where's the location, what's the elevation from sea level, what's the moon phase. There's a place in Russia that monitors neutron levels in the atmosphere that increases when we pass through cosmic, solar flares. I looked at 80 different things, trying to piece a puzzle together. It's like, what causes us to see these things when we see them, and why can't we see them all the time? So, now, am I right? I don't know, but some of the stories I've heard out here, seem to be way out there. So I decided to not follow the norm and kind of think outside the box a little bit.
So you believe in something, but you don't really believe in spooks, so to speak. You don't believe in that traditional haunting where it's a spirit of a dead person who is just floating around waiting for purgatory to be over with or whatever's causing it.
No, that's not my personal belief on there.
Okay. Well, me and Nathan don't believe. We believe in the booger man. We're both chickens.
No, I was asking Joe earlier. We believe in angels and demons, but then there's spirits and the ghosts. Is there a difference between all these, or is it all?
And with what he's saying, he believes that that's a separate thing altogether.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about evil spirits?
The thing is, I think, kind of differently than everybody else. But you mentioned, demons. You can do. I've had cases where there's been, EVP sessions, and you get something that seems to be negative come in. And we're using 5 different, EMF detectors, and they're all going off while we're getting this EVP. And then you sit back and kind of scratch your head. Okay, well, if my theory is incorrect, is it a ghost or is it a demon? Because I know people out here that are certified demonologists. It's like, well,
right?
How do you get that training?
Well, I don't want any of that training. That's one of the things I just want to steer clear from. I don't know what it is myself, but I sure don't want to mess with something that I'm going to bring home and follow me around forever.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. Now, I actually have witnessed, which throws my theory out the window, that I have witnessed people supposedly be possessed, that they were open-minded enough to go on an investigation, but then turn around and freak out and can't breathe and tell me what somebody's telling them, and well, how do you I don't know how to process that.
Yeah, I don't think it's wise.
Ironically, that was at that TB hospital that's in southern Arkansas, too.
I just don't think it's a good idea to try and make contact or have conversations or a debate with these things out there. I told Joe earlier, it's kind of like online dating. You might meet something that's pretty interesting, and then once you come in contact with it, it's not what you thought it was.
Yeah.
FarmersOnly.com.
Ghostsonly.com.
It's our sponsor today.
Now, where are you guys at? Are you guys in Yellville? Or
We're in an undisclosed location.
Deep in the Ozark Mountains.
We're somewhere between Yellville and Flippin. Kinda.
Okay, well,
back toward the Buffalo River.
There is a house in Yellville that will trip you out. I refer to it as the Estes House only because that's the name on the blueprint when it was built in 1910, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's one of the 10 oldest houses still standing in Marion County.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife at the time, she worked for, I don't even remember who the judge was. She worked at the courthouse for the county judge.
We remember that.
And she knew I was into this stuff. And at that time, I actually hadn't started the research team yet. And she came home one day and told me there was a lady in town that was at the courthouse digging through public records because she had some activity going on at her house. Well, like I told you earlier, I perceive things differently than other people. So I had actually seen some things at a house here in town that I had never told anybody because I didn't want to be looked at like I was nuts. I mean, that tends to happen around here, but
yeah.
There's some topics you don't talk about. And so I never told anybody. And so when Melissa came in, she was telling me about it, and she was trying to describe to me what house it was in town, and I stopped her before she continued with her explanation, and I said, did they mention the little girl? And she looked me dead in the eyes and said, how do you know about the little girl? I said, I need to talk to this woman immediately. I, on 2 occasions, probably the month before this was told to me, was driving to a gas station in town, the White Oak station. I was probably running for cigarettes or something at the time. And on the way to the house, I saw a girl, and she's probably 14, 15 years old, based on size, wearing clothes that did not match anything from today. We're talking, 1800s. And I about ran off the road, had to look twice, what am I seeing? you going to tell that to? I kept my mouth shut, went on about my business. A week later, it happened again. And still, I didn't tell anybody about it. And then a month later passed, and then this family's trying to figure out what's going on in their home. Come to find out, after researching the house, talking with the family, and ironically talking to the neighbors, and I did not tell them why I was asking about it. I was just asking about weird things in the neighborhood as a general topic. Everybody was talking about the little girl in the white dress that runs across the yard and vanishes. You don't hear stuff like that every day.
No, you don't.
I know what house you're talking about, and I'm going to make a detour anytime I have to go to that neighborhood just to avoid it now.
Oh man, that's actually where we're going to record our next show from.
What's that?
I said it's the big white house. You can't
Yep.
miss it.
Yep.
So where are you at right now with your documentary? Are you getting close?
Yeah, we're in the editing stage right now. I had a computer blow up on me that was doing all the editing, so I had to get the computer replaced. Basically, my documentary is covering the Falk Monster, which was the inspiration for the 1972 movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Right, we talked about that last week a little bit.
A good friend of mine, author Lyle Blackburn, has written a book called The Beast of Boggy Creek, so he's been helping me with that and getting me connected with all the locals down there, and I've been doing a lot of research on that, and spent some time out there in the swamps, and I've never seen a Bigfoot, but I have heard something that I can't find in any of the animal databases on the internet as far as sounds.
Black bear.
So that was kind of freaky. We're going to be talking about an old legend that nobody talks about anymore, which is the White River Monster.
Oh yeah,
I'm now one of the historians on.
I forgot about that. I grew up just kind of up the river from Batesville, and we always heard about the White River Monster.
Yeah, it's almost died out. It seems like legends and folklore kind of go in 40 and 50-year cycles, and for some reason, what they call Whitey, which is the White River Monster, hasn't really cycled this time around, and this is back in the 70s was the last time anybody really talked about it. That isn't, of course, until I went to Newport and started poking around, so I've actually got some pretty good stories on that. And we're going to be talking about, what was it? We're doing black cats, Ozark Howler, it's been nicknamed, which is kind of a touchy subject because it started out as a different legend, as a hoax over the years, but then it's kind of evolved into all these black cat sightings that are happening all over the state, which I've been asked to help with a TV show that's getting ready. Well, they're filming right now, and they'll actually be in Marion County in, I think, the last week of March. We're going to go out and do some stuff.
I'm interested about that. I'll be interested to see what you do there. I've heard people talk about black panthers ever since I was a kid. Never, occasionally you'll see a picture of a mountain lion, a puma, a cougar, wampus cat, whatever you want to call it. But me and Nathan were talking about that before you came on, before we started the show today. And here's where I have a problem with whether I believe that there were ever black cats in this area. There are no pelts. I see, you would think at some point there would be some kind of item made out of a black cat's pelt. You'll see deer skins, you'll see bear skin, buffalo, elk, stuff from all throughout our modern history. But I've never seen a black cat pelt out there, and maybe I'm just missing it somewhere. But
yeah, now that you mention it, I haven't either, and it kind of reminds me of an argument that I hear a lot when it comes to, like, well, there's no proof that,
Right.
Just burning around out here in the woods. Nobody's found, any carcasses or, bodies or anything. Well, on that same line of thinking, we know just in Marion County alone, I'd have to call Game and Fish. What do you guys think the count for black bear is in the county?
I'd say close to 100.
Oh, it's more than that.
Yeah. Do you know any hunters that have come across the body of a black bear?
No, we just talked about this last week, and I know exactly where you're coming from on it. Me and him both deer hunt avidly, and neither one of us have ever come across a black bear skull, a black bear. Even roadkill you don't see very often, but we know there's several hundred black bears in our county. Maybe up around, maybe in the thousands. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of them.
But
there's several over. I know Forrest Wood. I've lost track of how much land he owns, but there's several bear on some of his properties over around Flippin that I'm trying to get access to, because I would just like to get video footage of bears in their natural habitat.
Yeah, I see them up here occasionally, but
they're afraid I'm going to tell somebody. I don't want anybody to know. I want them left alone. I just need footage. Of we've got them. They're here.
But you understand what I'm saying. All throughout history, you hear stories of people seeing black panthers or even shooting black panthers or shooting at them. But like with bears and things like that, you'll find an article of clothing or a bag or something that's made out of a hide. But you just don't. I just never see that historically. And you would think, with it being that odd of a thing, that you would see something that was made special, or a mount or something. But
it wasn't until last year, I think the year before maybe. People sees mountain lions quite often, but there's never been a kill or anything here until 2 years ago, I believe. There was DNA evidence found here, and I think it was eventually killed down in southern Arkansas somewhere. It linked it back to the same DNA evidence that was found here.
Yeah, isn't that amazing what they can do with technology now?
Crazy.
Yeah.
So the one that was actually seen here in Marion County, I actually saw that real close to Rush about two and a half years ago.
Yeah.
Well, my dad and my brother-in-law both saw one here at the bottom of Hall Mountain within like a week, almost the same spot, and then we saw it twice, and then we haven't seen it again. So they've got a pretty big territory.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey man, we appreciate you coming on. We may call you back sometime. It's been pretty interesting, and we appreciate your time, appreciate your input, and thanks for coming on the Boredroom.
Yeah, keep us updated on your documentary.
Will do. Documentary and a whole bunch of other small video projects and a horror film getting ready to be filmed too. So I'll keep you posted on all of it.
Okay, man, we appreciate it. Okay, that was pretty interesting stuff. I don't know. I just it's the unknown. There's not too many people out there who hasn't had some kind of experience. And like he was saying, I mean, a lot of this stuff could be debunked, and you could explain why certain things happen or sounds that you hear. But there's some things out there you just, I don't know. Is it the boogeyman? Is it a spirit of a departed loved one? Is it a demon? Is it
whatever it is? It's not for me.
You're saying you don't want to go on a ghost hunt?
No.
That's what you're telling me. You don't want to. I was looking here real quick. I'm looking on this website.
I did discover you can buy holy water on Amazon.com, and if you're a Prime member, 2-day free shipping.
Hey, there you go. And that's a good thing. If you're going to go out and you're going to deal with something that's it's unknown, there's nothing wrong with having a little high quality holy water.
Now, if you want to make your own holy water, you just get a pot, you put it on the stove, and you boil the hell out of it.
Oh, boom, boom. I was looking on this. I think it's that same Huff guy that you were talking about that makes the what's the little box thing he makes?
The Wonder Box.
The Wonder Box. They've got several things on this. It's like ghost hunter kits, and I was looking at some of this stuff, and it's your typical stuff. It's like an EMF detector. and there's digital recorders. But the thing that bothers me, and I think this probably bothers you, is that amongst all this stuff, they got digital EMF meter, they got a mobile handheld kinetic camera, they've got a mini Tesla coil. I don't know if that'd be for. But amongst all this stuff, they have a Saint Benedict medal with exorcism blessing. If I have to have an exorcism blessing, I really don't want to mess with something like that.
No.
They also have a book on the intro to demonology. Why in the hell, pardon the pun, would you want to mess around with demons if you thought they were real? And last but not least, they have a book called Armor of God, and it's prayers for protection and deliverance. There again, if I have to have a book of prayers to go do my hobby to safely make it home, I probably need to find another hobby.
Yeah,
just saying.
This stuff I don't want any part of. I think that you can get into some areas where you're just not supposed to go. That's one thing I appreciate about Jason's line of work. He's not out there trying to.
No, he's not trying to shove it down anybody's throat.
Or make contact
right.
and have conversations with demons or whatever. He's just trying to prove facts.
And it's interesting. I mean, I've had some things happen to me that are not explainable. And I've had some things that happen and I go, okay, I think I was about half awake when that happened. And it's probably just my mind playing tricks on me. But it's called Paranormal and the Unknown for a reason.
Yep.
Oh, you know what that means.
That's our cue to wrap
Skidoo.
it up.
That's about all the time we got on the Boredroom this week.
That's right. Don't forget to like us, share us, follow us, all that good stuff.
And until next week, this is Joe Batterton and
Nathan Rogers
saying have a good week.